Prince Harry takes a stand and lawyer Nima Rahmani breaks down his case.
This is a crime. Here in the United States, it would be a felony. So I expect the judge to punish the Daily Mail and reward Prince Harry handsomely.
Plus, Prince William and Princess Kate dazzle at a wedding.
This was a high stakes fashion event. You know, everyone pulled out their most glamorous outfits.
And did the royals snub Lilibet as she celebrated her second birthday?
I hope she had a lovely birthday. I hear her dad was able to be there, was able to be with her on her birthday to celebrate, and now he's been whisked back to the UK for this court case.
We've got that plus so much more on today's Royally Us. Hello to our fellow royal lovers and welcome to Royally Us. I'm Christina, that's Christine, and welcome to another big week of royal news. Harry has taken the stand and it's getting a lot of people talking.
Listen, I'm so excited to dive into this week because there's so many royals out there doing really, really important royal work. And then there's Harry's court case. So let's get into it.
Let's get into it. Before we do, like always, see what you guys had to say about last week's show. Malgrazada says, so he resigned from being royal, talking about Harry, but wants to be treated as a royal, have privileges but no responsibilities. His audacity and entitlement is hard to stomach. I'm glad Harry had a reality check. So yeah, it seems like we get these comments pretty much on the weekly.
Well, it's really interesting. We're seeing in these court cases, but specifically the one that we're sort of seeing play out right now. In court, they asked how Harry wanted to be addressed, and he said, he requested to be called Prince Harry, not the Duke of Sussex, not just Harry. So it is interesting to see these little signs, like, what does he really want? What's he trying to get out of this?
Exactly. And then Denise says, correction, we don't want the drama. They dish it out. It keeps them relevant. Doing good work should be done humbly and quietly. They want the attention. Yeah, I guess it's a fine line now because they're trying to figure out, like, okay, if we do the good work, we want people to know about it. But yes, you do want, that stuff to kind of go under the radar. You don't need everybody to know that you're doing it. But in their case, I don't know, maybe they do because they have such a bad rap right now. I don't know.
I feel like this is a good argument for if they were just doing the work and just promoting the work that they were doing rather than making headlines for, car chases and court cases. Oh, that rhymes.
Yes, it does. I like it. It could be like a name of a movie. I like it. Yeah. All right. Well, let's get into the news of the week. And we're kicking off some big baby news. Princess Eugenie gave birth on May 30th to her and her husband, Jack Brooksbank's second baby. They announced the news on Instagram saying, Jack and I wanted to share the news that we had our little boy, Ernest George Ronnie Brooksbank, on the 30th of May at 8.49, weighing 7 pounds. Oh, at 8:49, sorry. He is named after his great-great-great-grandfather, George, his grandpa, George, and my grandpa, Ronald. And she added that Augie is loving being a big brother already. These photos are the sweetest. Congratulations to their growing family. So exciting.
This is so sweet. They call their older son's name is August and they call him Augie. So I really want to know if this is going to be baby Ernie. How cute is that? But I think this is a really great example of Eugenie having a very private life and sharing only really what she wants to. They're papped occasionally, but very rarely, and they're able to lead a mostly normal yet semi-royal life. And I'm so happy for them. These photos were just so sweet.
So sweet. I love it so much. All right. Well, the Princess of Wales visited the Windsor Family Hub to learn more about how the center supports families in the local area. As we know that this is not very far from her home with Prince William, so it was just a hop, skip, and a jump away. But this place offers support to services for parents, caretakers, children of all ages, and is run by Achieving for Children, which is a nonprofit community group and aims to offer targeted support to foster family resilience and prevent issues from escalating. As we know, this is something that she's really passionate with. She met with parents participating in stress management classes, a health visitor session, and a baby massage course, which is also always fun. I'm sure that was so exciting to see. And she heard from parents about how the Windsor Family Hub has really made a difference in their lives. Again, we talk about it week in, week out. This is her passion project, and she does a really good job doing it.
Yeah, and it's so great. These hubs are really, really popular throughout the United Kingdom. And it's not even just in like maybe what you would think of as low income areas. Everywhere has a hub nearby where they can get community support, access to, some health advice for babies, and Kate sort of raising awareness that these exist. Maybe a few parents now, families will look into those services, take up a baby massage class.
Yes.
and sort of find that support somewhere.
Yeah, definitely. All right. Well, this was very exciting and a very glamorous event. So William and Kate were among the very high profile guests at Crown Prince Hussein of Jordan and Raja Al Saif's nuptials. The tiaras were broken out, and I love to see it. They looked very chic upon their arrival. This was on June 1st. And while William sported a suit, white shirt, blue tie, Kate donned a very detailed lush pink dress with long sleeves, a high neckline by Jenny Packham. She paired it with Queen Mary's Lover's Knot tiara, which is definitely a favorite of hers. And she wore the Greville chandelier earrings, which were from Queen Elizabeth. And so this was a very, like we said, over the top event. Princess Beatrice was also in attendance as well. So it's so great to see them kind of step out for a very glamorous night out.
I love this. The Jordanian royals are always glamorous. The women always have the best fashion. I mean, really, really, this was a high stakes fashion event. Everyone pulled out their most glamorous outfits. And I loved seeing William and Kate taking part in an event that was so important among other foreign royals. There was a lot of other European kings and queens, international kings and queens in attendance, crown princes and princesses. So it was so great to see them there mingling with other members of the royal family and other high profile guests as well. I absolutely loved that they made the time for this event.
Definitely. And Princess Beatrice looked beautiful as well. She was wearing her mom's tiara, which was a special nod to her. Yeah, just a really, really beautiful. Like you said, the Jordanians know how to bring the high fashion, and they definitely did. And it seemed like this was a very long weekend event, and it ended with a perfect fashion event. I loved it so much. All right.
I know. Yeah. And I did love seeing Beatrice there. And there's been a lot of people wondering maybe why she was there. And is this a sign that she might sort of step into a more royal role? A lot of people have sort of wanted to see her and Eugenie take up slightly more of the royal duties, because they obviously can bring the glamour and the style. And I loved seeing her there.
Definitely. I hope to see more of it. Definitely. All right. Well, the Prince of Wales, who, of course, serves as the president of the Football Association, attended the game between Manchester United and Manchester City over the weekend, greeting players, managers, officials at Wembley Stadium before the start of the game. He, of course, wore a classic suit and tie, and his greetings even extended to player Marcus Rashford, who he previously awarded the Most Excellent Order of the British Empire. This was back in November. So, of course, he loves a good football game. He's not going to miss this.
No, I love that he's regularly in attendance. It sort of shows that he's not the president just for show. He actually wants to be part of this organization. And he uses that relationship so much in the projects that they support, especially with men's mental health and sport. So it's not just watching a game, it's being a part of a larger project.
Mm-hmm, definitely. Well, this is interesting. So King Charles has given up his beautiful Welsh home, and his son Prince William has decided not to use it. So the farmhouse in Carmarthenshire, which is West Wales, was Charles's home whenever he visited the country as the Prince of Wales. He acquired the house and the 192 acres around it in 2007 through the Duchy of Cornwall, and the estate is the umbrella organization for the homes and income of the heir to the British throne. So now that obviously he is no longer the Prince of Wales, he is unlikely to spend a lot of time there. William can have it if he wants, but doesn't seem like he wants it. So he has been paying rent on the home since it was inherited by him, but it doesn't seem like he's going to be using it anymore. So I wonder who it goes to now.
I mean, they might just rent it out to a tenant. It might just sort of be used for, I don't know, maybe formal use. I know that sometimes they hosted parties and events for those who were, supported by the Duchy of Cornwall or the Princess Trust. Mm-hmm. But ultimately, it's probably not going to be like another country home for the Prince and Princess of Wales. Compared to other royals now, they have actually maintained, not that many houses, although it seems absurd to many of us. You think about other foreign royals, other members of the British royal family, they have so many houses. But William and Kate have said, no, three's enough.
Three's enough. Don't want to spread ourselves too thin.
Yeah. How many closets does that, entail?
Right? It's so crazy. All right. Well, let's spill the royalty. And this was a very frightening situation. So the FBI was aware of threats against Queen Elizabeth during her tour of California, which was 40 years ago. So for the first time ever, recently declassified documents reveal that the federal law enforcement agency was aware of an assassination threat against Queen Elizabeth during her visit with Prince Philip back in 1983. They were invited by then President Ronald Reagan to see his home state, and authorities learned a few weeks before that of an alleged sympathizer of the Irish Republican Army wished to do her harm. So they arrived on the Royal Yacht Britannia on February 26th, spent a week in California. And according to a report, the unidentified patron told the latter officer that his daughter had been killed in Northern Ireland by a rubber bullet and that he planned to harm the British monarch. Files added that the authorities plan to contact the patron, who had been interviewed in pair cases and has been generally cooperative, although he makes no secret of his sympathies for the IRA, which that's crazy. It makes you wonder how many of these plots and, plans really were in place over the years to maybe cause harm to not only Queen Elizabeth, but to other royals as well.
I know it's incredible to think about. There's so much that we don't know, and really in such an incredibly public role, having so much, it's not even just fame. There's a little bit of political weight to it as well, really puts them at a unique place of risk. And I think we forget about how toxic the relationship between the IRA and the UK government and the British monarchy was for so many years. I mean, it's an absolutely unbelievable and yet believable story. And I'm grateful that didn't, that they were able to keep her safe. I can't imagine how history would have changed if that had happened. No,
it's so true. And, it kind of brings you into the topic of conversation with security and, how Prince Harry, we'll talk a little bit more about his case a little bit later on and, the protection and things like that. But, it shows that royals really do need protection. I mean, people, like you said, people really they're not only have a celebrity status, a royal status, but a political status as well. So a lot of people have a lot of opinions. All right. Well, before we dive into Prince Harry's case, let's talk about Lilibet, because she turned 2 on June 4th. And while there was no official message from King Charles and Queen Camilla on social media or William and Kate, there's no hard feelings. The source tells us that the palace did not snub Lilibet. There is no and has never been protocol for wishing happy birthdays to non-working members of the royal family. They didn't give Archie a shout out for his 4th birthday as well recently, but they have paid tribute to Archie and Lilibet in the past. But it's true, they don't send well wishes to every single member of the royal family.
Yeah, it's definitely not, you might look for patterns, is it only like big birthdays, like their first birthday, things like that. But I think that the trouble with this very sort of interconnected world that we live in is there's this expectation of posting all the time or always giving, like a statement or things like that. And, really that doesn't really exist in the royal family. I think some people maybe are looking for snubs that don't exist, but then aren't they all? Right. I hope she had a lovely birthday. I hear her dad was able to be there, was able to be with her on her birthday to celebrate, and now he's been whisked back to the UK for this court case.
Yes, whisked back to the UK for the court case, and let's talk about it. So he arrived at London's High Court on June 6th to testify after accusing the publisher of the Daily Mirror of using unlawful methods to write stories about him for years. So there was a 55-page written witness statement. That must have taken a while, and that was released this week as Harry took the stand, and the lengthy document includes mentions of Princess Diana, Prince William, Princess Catherine, Caroline Flack, Chelsea Davy, Natalie Pinkman. He wrote, "It's no secret that I have had and continue to have a very difficult relationship with the tabloid press in the UK. In my experience as a member of the royal family, each of us gets cast into a specific role by the tabloid press. You start off as a blank canvas while they work out what kind of person you are and what kind of problems and temptations you might have." He went on to say, you're either the spare to the heir, the playboy prince, the failure, the dropout, or in his case, the thicko, the cheat, the underage drinker, irresponsible drug taker. The list goes on. He actually talked about his relationship with Chelsea Davy and their past travels, saying that they were tracked via voicemails, and that was pretty much led her to kind of say, you know what, I don't want this relationship with you anymore. This is very upsetting for me. He also cites that stories that were published over the years and details having trust issues within his inner circle. He said, "William and I would often speak over the phone and regularly left voicemails for one another containing very private and sensitive information about our private family and professional lives. We would discuss our personal relationships, education, careers, as well as social arrangements over the telephone and voicemails. I'm aware that my brother was also a victim of phone hacking and unlawful information gathering." He talked about how Kate and him would also do the same thing. He talked about that he was shocked, disgusted, and appalled when he was shown by solicitors 3 handwritten letters from Princess Diana to the well-known television personality Michael Barrymore. And he detailed unusual mobile activity. There's a lot. I'm sorry, that was so much information, but it's 55 pages and try to sum it up. But yeah, he really went into detail.
It's such a difficult court case because I do suspect that there's some truth to his accusations, but unfortunately, every claim he makes is going to be, again, meticulously fact-checked. I feel like I talk about this every week. Everything he says is meticulously fact-checked, and they're going to find ways to sort of, thwart his claims or sort of, plant these seeds of, he's just so mistrustful. And it's such a difficult, seeing it playing out, hearing the statements that he's given today and sort of, taking the stand has been really, really difficult for him. And this is just a horrendous case to have all these stories hashed out again, pulled up out from, where they were buried, all in the name of him really wanting an apology. He's talked about he wants press reform, and that's what he's trying to do here. But I worry at what cost, how much damage is this going to do to him and further to his reputation?
Yeah, it's like, does he even care anymore? Is it like a pride thing? What is he trying to gain from all of this? Well, to help us break this down even more, and maybe to answer some of these questions about this case, is a president and CEO, Nima Rahmani, former federal prosecutor. He knows this stuff, so take a look. In this 55-page witness testimony, does it prove that the Daily Mail publishers did hack Harry's phone?
Well, Christina, it does. Not necessarily because of the document that was submitted, but because the Daily Mail has essentially admitted liability. They've said we're at fault. This trial really is a question of damages, how much Prince Harry and his brother are owed.
Right. And so based on this, does it appear that Harry does have a strong case and that he will be, paid handsomely, I guess, from this?
I think so. And this is one of the ways that U.S. laws differ from the U.K. In the United States, we have hearsay laws, which means you can't submit those types of affidavits or declarations. Generally speaking, the witness has to take the stand and testify. But in the UK, it's a little bit easier to get some of this evidence in. So the prince was able to submit that written statement, but also take the stand and testify. In the US, you usually need that live testimony.
Got it. So this 55-page document did help his case substantially.
It did. And I'm sure he prepared it with the help of his lawyers to really show how he was affected by this hacking, how personal this information was. I mean, obviously talking about Princess Diana, his hopes and dreams, his fears. I mean, these are things that I don't care who you are, a former member of the royal family or an ordinary Joe Schmo, you don't want the public to know.
Yeah, well, he basically said that the press really did, turn him into this villain, kind of created this narrative about him. And it seems like he wants maybe not only to be paid, but for the Daily Mail to kind of fess up and own their responsibility in all this.
I think so. I think the Daily Mail did try to accept responsibility to sort of lessen the blow. But, you never know what a judge is going to do. But I would expect that he will be awarded significant damages because this is pretty outrageous, their conduct.
Right. Did it look bad that Harry was not in attendance the first day of this trial? I know the judge said that he was surprised by this. Would a U.S. court treat that differently as opposed to a U.K. court?
I think so, Christina. Again, another way that the two systems are different. Here we have jury trials in these types of cases, defamation cases. Obviously, we saw that with Johnny Depp and Amber Heard. In the UK, you're going to get a bench trial, which means a judge is going to make the decision. Jurors tend to be less forgiving when someone doesn't show up to court, right? Judges, handle these cases every day. So, the judge may give the prince a pass, especially if he missed day one because of his daughter's birthday. But jurors, they tend not to be as forgiving.
No, definitely not. So how do you foresee this trial ending? What do you think is going to happen?
My prediction is that the prince is going to get a significant award in terms of pounds there in the UK. Because again, this is pretty bad conduct. There was a whole investigation that was conducted years ago there in the UK. But this really crosses the line in terms of reporting, hacking someone's phone. That's something that's unlawful. You're not talking about, being aggressive and going too far and maybe chasing someone out. This is a crime here in the United States. It would be a felony. So I expect the judge to punish the Daily Mail and reward Prince Harry handsomely.
Yeah, it will definitely be interesting to see how this plays out over the next couple days. All right, well, let's get into our pint-sized palace. And Prince George, Princess Charlotte, and Prince Louis know the joys of having a dog, and that is thanks to their uncle James Middleton. He, of course, this is Kate's younger brother, and he said that he's really pleased that his niece and nephews are growing up with a pet. He sat down with OK Magazine and said that Prince William and Princess Kate's first family dog, Lupo, was a puppy from James's beloved dog, Ella's litter. And their current dog, Orla, was a gift from James after his pet, Luna, had babies. He said, I'm really pleased that they are able to enjoy and have the benefit of dog in their lives. I see them being lucky that they have a dog in their life. And he's obviously, James has talked openly about how having a dog has helped him, with some mental health issues. He said, I found a lot of solace in my dog's Tilly, particularly when I was a young teenager. She knew all of my secrets at the time, who I fancied, and all of those little tricky parts that come with growing up that I never told anybody. I love this. So sweet. He must be like the best uncle.
I know. It's so valuable that the Middletons are still such a close-knit family. And especially with the dogs. So Ella was the family dog, but was really James's dog.
Right.
Pippa has one of Ella's dogs. William and Kate had one of Ella's dogs. I think Michael and Carol have one of Ella's. All these dogs. James is just like giving the family dogs. They all have dogs that are related to each other. It really makes it such a sweet, sweet family affair. But James is absolutely right. The support of a dog or a pet in your life can be so invaluable, especially during difficult times. And even for children who are sort of working things out, those early lessons you have to learn with friends who are mean to you. Sometimes a dog or a pet, I had a cat growing up, can be just the best place to get those feelings out in a safe way.
Nothing like a good hug from a cat or a dog or anything like that. Nothing like a good cuddle. All right, well, that is it for this week's episode of Royally Us. Keep commenting, keep subscribing, and Christine and I will see you guys next week. For more news, content, and exclusive interviews, make sure to hit the sub, like, and bell button down below and visit usmagazine.com.